according to the Torah, birds are listed. It's not, a description of what makes a kosher bird. They actually list out the names of the kosher birds and the non-kosher birds. And the turkey is nowhere to be found. Some rabbis classified it as a tarnagol hachadash me'Amerika.
התרנגול החדש.
The new American chicken.
For this case, the turkey is a chicken.
So we're going to make the new American chicken.
Let's go for it. And I think it's a beautiful tradition. And in this term, I feel like preparing a 12-pound chicken for 8 people is totally like the Jewish traditional
It's totally the way to go.
All right. Oh my God, Yehuda, this chicken, we're having a conversation.
It's still not a chicken.
It's a chicken. You know it is. It's just a big, big, big American chicken.
So to mix it up a little bit, and this whole dance of you're Israeli, I'm American, we're encountering this great holiday here in America. Thanksgiving menu, but all of these Israeli variations I think is great. So we're going to make the new American chicken.
If you're having turkey, you also must have stuffing, right? And that's something I really actually never realized. Because you cook the stuffing separately from the turkey?
Yes, we cooked the stuffing separately from the turkey.
But then it's not stuffed, right? It's like...
Correct. It's a misnomer, stuffing.
I thought about making Persian rice, which is really one of my favorite ways to prepare rice. I want to say another thing about the Israeli variations. You said, let's make pumpkin pie. And I said, Yehuda, I think that's slightly too much for me.
Yeah.
So we're doing the cherries and almonds pie.
So we said we weren't going to do pumpkin pie, but I thought of maybe a mashup of Jewish culture and Middle Eastern Jewish culture and American culture. We'll try something different, which is a pumpkin baklava.
And that could be like either a great success or more likely a huge failure.
A huge failure.
But we'll try.
I know, we're going to try. Okay, so we're doing turkey.
I'll start by chopping the parsley.
Okay.
And you can start with, just start putting all the toppings in.
Yep.
So I'll do some chopping.
One of the things you were saying to me before, Nissimmi, is that you have an appreciation about Thanksgiving as someone who lives in a society that doesn't quite have it. So I'm curious what it is that you see that's interesting to you or appealing to you as a Jew in Israel, where there's plenty of holidays.
We have plenty of holidays in Israel, but actually, except of Yom HaAtzmaut, we don't have any kind of civil holiday. All of our holidays in Israel are, let's say, either national holidays, like Yom HaAtzmaut, and all the rest of them are very Jewish holidays. We have Rosh Hashanah, we have Yom Kippur, we have Shavuot, we have Sukkot. We don't have any kind of civil holiday. And I think that's something very powerful. When you're building a state that's based on immigrants, how can you create a holiday that really includes everyone?
Right.
And I think that's something very, very powerful that unfortunately we don't have enough of it in Israel.
Yeah, it also has complicated implications for the citizens and residents of Israel who are not Jewish. Because the absence of either a holiday that is, shared religion in general, but even shared nationalism.
Exactly.
Just having something that's about our whole society coming together, you miss out on something very significant. Thanksgiving becomes a way of being American, like everybody else. It didn't require you to go to church. Didn't require you to take on Christian symbolism.
You could stay as Jewish as you are.
Correct. And it echoes with Jewish ideas that American Jews like about gratitude and about neighborliness and about, patriotism. Thanksgiving is a way to kind of blend between these commitments. I'm still very Jewish, and at the same time, I live with, alongside, I can be part of something else, and I haven't compromised anything throughout.
I'll start with the olive oil and you'll... Oops. Oh, never mind. It's a Mediterranean dish, after all.
Can't hurt.
Okay.
Once we made the commitment not to have any margarine, then you have to compensate with way too much olive oil.
I don't know if there is such a thing as way too much olive oil. Join me, Yehuda, join me. It's a hands-on session.
It's my favorite olive oil text in all of Judaism.
Which one?
Is in the second chapter of Mishnah Shabbat. Talks about what you can use to light the Sabbath lamps. Mm-hmm. Right? It lists a whole bunch of different fats and flammables, right? Some of which are nicer and some of which are not, and the rabbis debate what you're allowed to use.
You can use
exactly, and a lot of it has to do with the question of, not just what's flammable, but also what's going to make for a nice Shabbat atmosphere.
In terms of respecting it and smelling the way Shabbat should smell.
Right? What if you use fish oil? Your house is going to smell like fish.
Or if you're using oil,
Or
so
tar.
your house going to start, your
Correct.
house going to smell like a gas station.
Correct. So the Mishnah talks about how you can, according to Rabbi Tarfon, you can only use olive oil. The Tosefta, however, parallel text from the 2nd, 3rd century, describes a drama that took place in the rabbinic Beit Midrash. That when Rabbi Tarfon said that you can only use olive oil, one of the other rabbis, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, jumped up on his feet and said, "What will the Alexandrians do, who only have sesame oil? And
Because
what
they
will-
didn't have olive oil in
Correct.
Alexandria.
What will the Medes do, who only have beet oil?" Right? In other words, what he was basically saying was, you think you are prioritizing something for its beauty, but what you're actually prioritizing is Jews in the land of Israel over the religious experience of Jews in the diaspora. And he says, therefore, anybody can use what they do.
This is such a beautiful example, and I really feel also in being a rabbi, just as it is in cooking, the first question you should ask is, who is your audience?
Yeah.
Who are you really talking to? Who are you cooking to? Who
right.
are you giving halacha to? And therefore you should think, I don't know, maybe sesame oil is okay.
Yeah, and also, do you want to be relevant? It's not just about caring for them. It's that ultimately, if the rabbis decide you can only have olive oil, and Jews in the diaspora don't have olive oil, the net outcome is they will either not light Shabbat candles, or they will stop listening to rabbis. And both of those are catastrophic decisions. So using olive oil in a turkey is also a way of saying, we're going to use the great product of the Middle East and the land of Israel in a great diasporic tradition. Here you go.
Let's put it in. Good luck to you. We'll see you in a couple of hours.
Anyway, we're going to make a matzah farfel stuffing. We're going to, play with it a little bit. I don't think my grandmother, when she made stuffing, used Italian beef sausage, but we're going to put some sausage in there because that's also kind of an American tradition. Sausage
sure she'll
stuffing. I'm sure my rabbi would have been fine with it. Our family stuffing recipe does not use bread; it uses matzah farfel,
Which is really the best way to say we're Jewish.
Correct.
And we're doing it the Jewish way.
It's the most Jewish food imaginable, matzah farfel.
Because if you want to use something which is dry to absorb all the fat and the juices of the turkey, I imagine your great-grandparents saying, well, we already have this very, very dry bread that we're using. Let's use this one.
Yes, it's something we call shelf-stable, the matzah farfel. The stuffing tonight is a tribute to my grandmother.
I wanted to ask you, in Israel, or should I say, in Israel post-October 7th, many of the holidays became very, very hard.
Yeah.
It became very hard, to celebrate after what we endured, after what we're still enduring. And, celebrating with our families, with beautiful tables, when our brothers and sisters are still hostages, when our brothers and sisters are risking their lives, fighting, when our brothers and sisters are refugees in their own state. It became very, very hard to be thankful and to be happy in our holidays. And that's really something we're still learning how to live with. And I wanted to ask if you also had this notion. I don't know, what did Thanksgiving in 2001 look like, 2 months after 9/11?
Oh, that's such a great question. The way that Americans tend to respond to moments like that is, and this is true for Israelis also, is kind of patriotic resilience. Great, we're all here, we're all together.
We're in this together.
The difference really was after 9/11, after the terror attack of 9/11, Americans fought a war, 2 wars actually, that were thousands of miles away. The difference for you is that after October 7th, the war has been an omnipresent part of your lives. You have Israelis living within just a handful of kilometers of where the front of the war is. There's no family in Israel that doesn't have either a victim of the terror attacks, a member of their family who's in the army fighting this, or had their life transformed on the home front.
We really understood how thin was the ice that we all live in. I'll open it and you'll take out the turkey.
We're going to take out turkey and we're going to take out the pie.
Yes, oh my God. This turkey, I don't think he thought it could ever look this good.
This is Damn good looking turkey. Okay, we'll set
Incredible.
that there. Let that hang out for a bit. Pie's ready to take out.
Yeah. It's nice and golden the way it should be and not burnt.
Implication for us here, as we've been living through this hard moment, is that in many liberal American Jewish families, whereas it might be that in Israel, you have Israelis with very different, complicated opinions about the government and the way that the war is being prosecuted, etc. But home may feel like the place where we can come together and at least be together. And for a lot of American Jewish families, there are deep generational divides about Israel. And so moments like Passover and moments like Thanksgiving are not the times where we only get together and appreciate that we're all kind of in this together. There's actually I see a lot of anxiety of what happens when my kids come home from wherever they are and they have really different opinions about Israel's actions in Gaza. And so the meal doesn't just become a place where I feel safe with my people,
But
it's also a place of some
complexity.
measure of anxiety and complexity. And I think our people is supposed to be good at this. That's what Passover always has been, is you get together with your uncle one time a year and argue. But to feel as though we're all together with some measure of kind of shared gratitude for something, or that we are all participants in the same story in a particular way, it feels a little dicier, I think, for Americans right now in a very divided country politically, and also in the Jewish community with growing divisions around Israel. I did that badly.
Never mind. I won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Did you catch that on camera?
So what we'll do is we're going to bake this, and then when it comes out, we'll drizzle it with honey and nuts, I think, correct?
Maybe some sugar syrup,
Great.
which is actually one of the most beautiful differences when we're talking about the Mizrahi cuisine versus the Ashkenazi cuisine. But while in the Ashkenazi cuisine, in general, the way to make something sweet is to take it out of the oven and then, gently tap it with some sugar powder. The Mizrahi way of making it sweet is just to dip it.
Soak it.
And
Like
soak
in
it,
a bathtub.
exactly. Like in sugar syrup
Correct.
or something like this.
Yeah. Look, I work all the time talking and thinking about Jewish peoplehood, and one of the things that, and it's very theoretical, it's a cerebral exercise, because actually the Jewish people is a weird concept, right? That you have a people that thinks of itself as a collective, even though it doesn't behave as one, doesn't speak the same language, doesn't believe the same things, doesn't practice the same things, lives in different places, right? Had very
All the
different
things that
histories.
really define.
Right, that usually define most peoples don't
Yeah.
really apply to the Jewish people. And so I've spent a lot of time thinking about that conceptually. And Israelis have this all the time because Israeli society has really fully blended these cultures in the music and in the food and in families. But for American Jews, you actually have to work on it. You have to expand your families, you have to build relationships, because you can, based on how American Jewry is organized, you can stay pretty enclaved. Like if you live in a suburban Orthodox or conservative community, it's all Ashkenazi,
And you can just
all
live
Eastern
there.
European, and it weirdly, as a diaspora community, you can wind up with deep intra-diasporic biases. Israel, of course, there's tensions between Ashkenazim and Mizrahim and Sephardim.
They exist.
But there's a certain way in which it's just part of your life. If you're an Israeli kid growing up, it's no inconsistency between schnitzel and falafel and malawach. They're just all part of the same
Definitely.
cuisine and culture.
It's part of the Israeli cuisine. And everyone eats that.
That's right. I'm tasting this.
Go for it. You really should. I want to taste it as well. Give me some.
I mean, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Obviously, on the produce side, you see a wide variation of what are the things that are considered to be like the side dishes. Green beans, cranberry sauce is a very common
Next to the turkey, right?
Thanksgiving,
Just to pour it on the
Thanksgiving
top.
dish. In our family, there's all these fancy ways of doing cranberry sauce, but our family tradition on cranberry sauce is that you open up the can of cranberry sauce.
Yeah, and you serve it
You
with the
put it in a bowl, but you don't actually tamper with it, so it still has the rings from the can visible.
Was this a family tradition, or was
It
this just your grandmother's way to say, I've done enough for this meal?
So what I love about it is that they're all of these communities are saying, I'm going to do the American ritual of a big feast that's rooted in gratitude and rooted in being here. but I'm just gonna show up with whatever protein
Yes.
comes from my culture.
Yeah, and my sauces and my things, but they love it, right?
And actually, that's exactly what the Jewish cuisine is about. Because all of the Jewish cuisines we know are actually the localized versions of foods being koshered or being Shabbat or holiday adopted, so it becomes Jewish.
I want to ask everybody to just share briefly what's one thing that you feel thankful for this Thanksgiving. Yona, how about you? Why don't you go first?
One of the things that was sharpened after October 7th, the intense existential loneliness of sort of navigating my own inner terrain and what I believe in, what I care about, and the world outside of me. And so the company of colleagues and friends with whom I could actually connect with who were experiencing something similar, but also create a space to sift through all these different things and hold for the competing things at the same time. And as opposed to pathologizing that, actually feeling like that's a gift. That I'm very grateful for that.
Ruby?
It's gonna sound like a terrible cliche, but it's not, which is the best things. They sound like cliches, but they're not.
But they're actually true.
It's like knockoff bags.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a reason. I'd say there is a reason that cliches
Yeah.
succeed over time.
Resilience. I have to tell you, when I first saw what's happening on October 7th, I didn't know if we're gonna emerge. I did not know. Israel, the Jewish people, the world, I had no idea. And it's still very bad. But I do feel that we have this crazy resilience. We're not going anywhere so easily.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling. Thank God for that.
Ronnie, how about you?
I'm so thankful for this amazing country that my family was able to come to and thrive in. But then there's Israel that I'm so connected to. I remember in the fallout of October 7th and kind of taking cues from friends in Israel who were having smachot and things like that, were having beautiful celebrations. The pain can't stop us from living. We need to have beautiful meals. We need to invite friends over. We need to spend time with friends. So that kind of in-betweenness, which for me is so much part of my Judaism, I'm very thankful for.
Okay, so for our first dessert, what we have here is a semi-traditional cherry, almonds, and olive oil tart with some crumbles on the top. Baked, by the way, on a cast iron skillet, which is like the most American cooking instrument. And Yehuda?
Here we have an experiment, a compromise about pumpkin pie in the face of a pumpkin pie skeptic. And we
Hater,
came
you
up,
can say hater.
We came up with a pumpkin baklava with honey and walnuts and pistachio. So b'tei avon, everybody.